Welcome back to Adobe Lightroom Classic, and today we're going to take a look at how to adjust color. And I think a lot of you are going to be surprised at how you actually adjust color, because the problem with color is the color is usually the wrong color. I know that's a little bit confusing, but I will show you inside of the program. All right, welcome back. We're in Lightroom, and today we're going to be taking a look at color. And color can be a little confusing at the start because I think people think you're just going to either slide and make it more cyan or more red or more green or more yellow or more blue. And that's not really how it works. So let me go ahead and open the basic panel here that we have. And we've got this image, and we have this image of this gentleman playing in a band, and it's got some stage lighting. And the reason I selected this is because it is very warm. And guess what? That's probably how it was, because they were probably using a yellow or a warm light in the stage lighting. But what we're going to do here is make this neutral. So a lot of times when you're shooting indoors or not outdoors, we have different color temperatures of light. And in photography, we measure that in the Kelvin scale. And it gives you different colors in your image, especially if you're using auto white balance, because it doesn't always get it. And that's not a big deal, because guess what? We can fix that in post-processing. But what we're going to do with this image is, though it's stage lighting, and this is probably kind of accurate, we're going to make this neutral. And this is something that you would actually be doing a lot of times if it wasn't somebody on a stage, but you were taking photos indoors. So the first thing you're going to do is set your color profile. Mine's on the Adobe Color. Next is white balance. This is something you should always do. We're going to go ahead and try auto and see what that looks like. And yeah, that made that super saturated. That's not what we're going for today. Doesn't mean it's wrong. We could try daylight. It's going to look very similar. We could go down and try tungsten, which I know it's going to make it more accurate to a neutral. And yeah, that did a whole lot better job. Now I can refine that with temperature and tint. In this case, I don't think tint needs to be messed around with, and usually you're not really messing it too much. It's usually temperature or tint. And I still have some warmth in this image. I can make it a little cooler, but it would make it even more cyan. And there's already a lot of cyan blue in this image. So we're just going to leave it where it is, because we're going to manipulate the color in a different manner. So we're going to go ahead and close this out. And so colors right now, we are adjusting are global, meaning that it's affecting the color everywhere in the image. So if we are affecting a certain color and it's here and it's somewhere else in the image, it's going to affect it in both places. If you want to selectively adjust color, you can kind of do it a little bit in Lightroom, but it's not great. I would suggest and I will suggest actually that most people do refinement in Photoshop, because it gives you more control. What we have up here are two things, the mixer and point color. And we're just going to be relying on mixer today. We'll take a look at point color later. Point color is just a more simplified way to do this, where you click on a color and then it adjusts it. But we can simply see in this image what color we want to adjust. So if you look up here, we've got red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, purple, pink, or magenta, and then all colors. And all colors just gives you all the different colors that you see. In this case, we want to adjust orange. Well, how do I know a color has orange in it? Well, I can see it. But what you will need to do is just take the saturation slider and slide it. If it gets like insane neon, that's your color, all right? If you think it's red, you click on red and you slide red over. And yeah, you get a little couple of streaks, but it's not really red because we don't see it all over the face. I come over here and double click that. So we're going to click on orange. So when you take photos indoors, the normal thing that happens are colors get hypersaturated, meaning they're too saturated, too vibrant, and a lot of times they're just not exactly the right color. They're close, but they're not exactly right. Surprisingly, what we need to do is kind of shift what we have here, which is the hue, the saturation, and the luminance. So the hue is the color, the saturation is the vibrance or intensity of that color, and luminance is the brightness, darkness. And you can see over here. So if we look at his face, and I'm going to make drastic swings, they're not going to look good, but you can see we've now shifted it towards that side, we've shifted it towards that side. So what we're doing is we're saying, hey, this color orange is not accurate. Which way do I want to go? Do I want to go this way a little, or do I want to make it more red? I don't want to make it more red. I think we're just going to go a few over this way. The issue with this is it's a little oversaturated for a neutral color. So I can then just desaturate that a lot, and then I can brighten this up. Actually, I think we can go to basic. We're going to just brighten this guy up a little bit, not make it too bright, because it is just overall a little bit dark. Close that out so it's easy for you to see what's going on. Now, when you brighten an image up, it does intensify the color. You can go into Photoshop and use what's called a luminosity blending mode. And then when you brighten something, it doesn't affect color. But in this case, it is going to affect it a little bit. I'm going to come in here and play around with that slider. And look, that's more of a natural skin tone. We still have this magenta light, that's fine, but this is more of a natural look. So what we're doing with this process is we're shifting the color around to make it a more accurate color because the color is not correct. And this happens a lot. So let's go ahead and slide on over here. Actually, let's go back here. Well, we'll do it here. I can also select this guy, so I can go select subject. I can hit subject, and it's going to make that mask for me. So he's selected out. But you'll see here, this is my kind of color adjustment. And it's just kind of a couple sliders like the white balance sliders in the hue, and it doesn't really help. Now we do have point color, so we can go in and work in a specific area, all right? And that has the hue, saturation, luminance. So I could come in here and I could click with this little pointer here. I could go, hey, that's the area that I want to adjust, and then I could come in here and adjust just that in that area. So we do have it, and we use that point color in the image. So let's go ahead and slide on over to this image. So in this image, the reason I picked it is because of the red dress, the fingernails, and the lips. And this is key. And red isn't in the rest of the photo. So it makes it really easy because the areas that are red are the areas that I'm gonna want to change. If I change it globally, yeah, it's not gonna make a difference because the red doesn't exist anywhere else. So it makes it easy. So we can go back to the global adjustments here. And the bad color is red. It's not really bad. It's just the color I want to adjust. I'm not going to do the basic and white balance. This is pretty close. We're just looking at color today. So up here, red is the color, and I can go to my slider and change the color of the dress, the fingernails, and the lipstick. So if I want that color or I want this color, I can kind of slide those colors around and get what I want. And what you'll see is in reds, oranges, and yellows, especially reds and oranges, they can get really neon, especially if you have a bad exposure. And the camera just sometimes has trouble reproducing the color perfectly accurate. It's close, but you might need to kind of fiddle around with it. What we're going to do here is fiddle around with it. So if I want to shift that color around, if I want to make it a little more warm, right? If I want to increase the saturation or decrease the saturation, I can do that with this slider, and then I can make that color darker or lighter. In this case, I'm just going to make it a little darker, and we're going to make that a little more intense. Come back here and slide this way and go this way. We got a nice vibrant red. Maybe it's a little too magenta. All right, that looks pretty good. And so we've adjusted those colors to make them either more accurate or look however we want them to look. So let's slide on over to here, and we're going to grab this city. Hey, if you're looking for something new to wear, I have a company called T-Lab Designs where I design custom t-shirts and apparel. We make stuff for adults and children. So a landscape in a city, and this is a great example of color temperature. We have a lot of lights, all right, and these are artificial lights. And if you look at the artificial lights, we've got some green ones, we've got some blue ones, we've got some yellow, we got some orange, we got all kinds of different lights. And this is a great example of what we call a mixed lighting. So if I have green, and for some reason I hate the color green, I can come up here and click on green, and I can shift the green around, make it match the rest of the colors. Maybe not perfectly, but a whole lot better than we have. So I'm looking right here in this little area. And if I go to the right, it's not going to do anything. But if I go this way, you can see, wow, it got rid of a lot of it. It's not perfect. I could also lower the saturation to remove some of that green to just make it more of a neutral color. I could also change the brightness, which I don't really want to do. We're just gonna kind of suck some of that out a little bit. Looks like it's got a little bit of blue. Now I can come up here to blue, but I want you to see what happens when I try to make blue adjust. Because there's blue in the sky, it's adjusting the sky as well. And we don't want that. So we would need to make a selection, an accurate selection, and then adjust these areas. All right. If in this case, I don't mind the blue, just showing you that. So if I want to come in here to orange, I can go to the right, see where all the orange is. I can suck out all the orange to make the color more neutral. All right, notice that color orange is gone. It's almost a complete neutral. If I want to brighten that up or darken that area up, I can do that as well. I could have also shifted the colors around. Now, maybe you don't want neutral colors. That's okay. We could just double click this and get rid of it and keep that. So a lot of this is subjective, but what I'm trying to show you here today is how to adjust color in your image. And we have a really good set of tools now in Lightroom. However, if you need to refine the color, Photoshop is the place to go. So we have a selective color, and it even gives you more ability to adjust color. And we also have hue saturation, which is very similar to this color mixer that we have here. All right, but we can do it in very specific areas really easily, unlike in Lightroom. Well, that's it for today. If you found this video helpful and could give us a thumbs up, that would be great. If you have any comments or questions, you can leave those down below or on our Facebook group, Shutterbug Academy. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Hey, if you're looking for something new to wear, I have a company called T-Lab Designs where I design custom t-shirts and apparel. We make stuff for adults and children.